Welcome back to Spirit Squared. I'm Andrew Darrington, your host. Tonight we're here at the Humidor. Thanks so much for Blake and Virginia Young for letting us use this facility. The Humidor is a great sponsor for us, as well as Vault Arms, Rex Consulting, Thomas Red, and Martha. You guys were our first sponsors. Thank you so much for being sponsors for us. Hoot and Holler Package Store. Thanks so much for being a sponsor for us. You truly have done a lot of good for us. Sorry, phone was going crazy. If you need spirits for the weekend, that's where you want to go, to Gun Barrel City. They're going to blow away any of the big box stores. Go see Scott and Regina and the crew there. They're going to do a great job for you. And then we have Ray Plunkett, who is a local Goosehead insurance agent, and he's a sponsor of ours too. So thanks so much for you guys. Thanks. I can't say it enough because everything that we've got here has been provided by our sponsors, and really, really appreciate that. Before I introduce our guest, we're having a little bit of Corazon, which is a tequila, and it's finished in Weller Foolproof, which is named after William LaRue Weller, and it's in that, a Weller barrel. So we're both having that over here. And tonight we've got Matthew Ramirez. Matthew is the Director of Strategy and Development at Greater Texas Capital, and he's also one of the directors and one of the co-founders of TJC Promise. So thanks so much for coming on this evening. You may want to put that mic down. I'm not quite sure. There you go. There you go.
That looks right.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
That's a great list of sponsors you've got there.
Yeah. So I'm ready to have some fun tonight, and let's start out with. So you were born in Dallas, but you did most of your schooling in Tyler. What was it like to grow up going to Robert E. Lee? Now it's changed. It's what
Tyler Legacy.
Legacy. Yeah. What were things like growing up in Tyler when you were coming through?
Yeah, it was. Well, I started off in Dallas, a low socioeconomic area in Dallas.
Yeah.
My dad's one of the smartest guys I've ever met, and so my journey really kind of starts with him. He had to walk to school through the projects every day.
Wow.
And so at some point, just going through that, he realized that pretty much was getting jumped and whatnot in that area in low socioeconomic area in Dallas. Fortunately, he made the decision for safety reasons for him and his brother to drop out early.
Okay.
And so when he had my brother and I the same area that he had grew up, he made the wise choice of picking up, loading everything he had, and moving to a town that I had never heard of called Tyler, Texas.
Yeah.
And so he brought me here. Yeah, I remember going to what used to be Taco Cabana, was on Broadway and the Loop. Was a Fridays, now it's 7-Eleven, and asked me if I wanted to move to some town called Tyler. And I was pretty young at the time, elementary school, and I don't know what Tyler is, but sure. And so I ended up coming here. I had a great army of teachers that really spent time catching me up. I was really far behind early on, and so it's really where I developed a passion for education, which I think we'll get into. But really, in my mind, that's where it kind of starts for me. And I'm really appreciative of those teachers who don't know me today, don't know what their efforts came out to, but got no awards for their efforts, but really showed up and was willing to help me catch up early on. And so, to answer your question, that was my start, Tyler ASD. So it started off really well.
Any teachers stand out to you, or can you remember?
All of them, but one specific one, and who I've made sure that I've gone and thanked, was my 7th grade math teacher, Bobby Schroeder.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And
She's still teaching?
She
Sorry.
retired. Yeah. She retired probably about 6-7 years ago. And so, unfortunately for their students, she was just a great asset, I think, at TSD. But really, sounds cliche, made math fun.
Yeah.
And I've got an 11-year-old son, and I don't have that skill of making math fun.
Right.
So I probably should give her a call.
Yeah. And she could be probably a good tutor.
That might be good. Yeah, that might be great. That's my really good advice. You need to take her up on that. So if I had to think of one on the top of my head, she'd be the first. But definitely, I could go on and on about a bunch of different ones: elementary school, middle school, high school.
Right.
And so definitely, I think I'm a proud product of TISD, and I'm very thankful for all those teachers that were spent that time.
So you graduate from Robert E. Lee, and you move to Texas A&M, huh?
Yeah. So very fortunate to had gotten a scholarship to go to Texas A&M. I was a first-generation college student, and so the whole college bit was so unknown to me. It was a dream that I had, but it was a dream. Didn't think it'd be a reality.
Yeah.
And so I shoot high sometimes, higher than I should probably. And so
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's worked out for me. And so I ended up working my first job. The second smartest thing my dad ever did was marry my stepmom, who I just call mom.
Yeah, for sure.
But she said, if you want to drive, you got to go work.
Yeah.
So the first job I got at 16 was at a vet clinic. And Dr. Michael Ramirez was my first boss. And he was an Aggie.
Okay.
And so great guy, calm guy, never lost his cool. He could be bit by a dog, he could be yelled at, and just always was level-headed. And so I thought all Aggies were that way.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
But getting to know him, getting to work for him as a 16-year-old, he took me to my first collegiate football game.
Okay.
And so I drank the Kool-Aid early on, and going to A&M as your first college visit was something surreal. And so A&M was right at wanted to be.
Yeah.
And so because of that scholarship, the Faulkner Scholarship, I was awarded. It wasn't a full ride, but it was a significant amount of money. I believe a little under $40,000.
Oh, wow.
And so,
So you went there for a couple years?
Mm-hmm. So okay. We required that you had to start at TJC.
Yeah.
For 2 years. The reason was, this was coming out of his bank account. So it was he could send more students to college if you start at TJC.
Yeah.
It's half the price of a university. So most students in that program did 2 years at TJC and then went off to the university after that, which is what I did as well. So going to Texas A&M first time I never really have stepped on university was there. Day one showing up. It was fun. It was extremely scary. I was a biology major, which knowing what I know now, I would have switched,
Right.
done something different. And it was interesting. But I learned a lot academically, but even more importantly about student success, which would pan out later on for me in my career.
Mm-hmm. Very cool, man. So you finish with Texas A&M with a degree?
Yep.
So TJC and then Texas A&M?
Yep.
Undergrad at TJC, Texas A&M. You come out finance major?
Biology.
Biology. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely don't use.
Yeah.
In working for that vet, my goal was to go to vet school.
Yeah. Okay.
People try to talk.
Had a
me
profound impact on you.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, thought I could try, shoot at vet school. I'm not gonna lie, my GPA was the opposite of what you needed.
Right.
To get into vet school, it's so competitive. There's not a lot of veterinary programs in the nation, so it's extremely competitive. Regardless, I wasn't even close on the competition, so
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's why I didn't get in, but was so close to graduating with a biology degree, I just stuck it out.
Yeah.
At that point, I just wanted a degree.
Yeah.
I actually ended up getting kicked out of A&M.
No.
One bad semester. I thought if I did bad, maybe I'd get on probation. I'd have another chance. And
Yeah, they don't do that in big schools.
they don't. I did. Yeah, I wish they would have told me that. It's one of those things you don't know as a first-generation college student. But no, and so the worst part about it was I tried hard, and I still did bad. I didn't miss a class or anything, and but I was trying to cover the cost of school. I was working 2 part-time jobs, and so trying to make ends meet. And so it took its toll and did not do well one semester. And the day after Christmas, I got a letter in the mail saying, hey, you can't come back.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to tell my parents at the time. And so I just told them I had to go back early to visit and take care of some stuff. And what I did was I went back and begged 3 different deans and to let me in. And probably the 3rd dean I spoke with just kept questioning me, like, why should I let you back in? Why should I? And, you got to realize I was 21 at this time. I knew she was looking for a specific answer. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I thought maybe if I just kept talking enough, I could convince her. But nothing I said, I would work less, I'd study more.
Right.
She wasn't buying any of that. But I don't know what it was. Something had just clicked in the moment. You could almost see it on her face. She said, okay, I'll let you back in. But you have to get, I can't remember, a 3.0 or something that next semester.
Right.
Which is fine because I was going to lose my scholarship anyways if I didn't get that GPA.
Yeah.
I got back to town, packed up my belongings to go back now that I was back in, and stopped by the scholarship office and found out that they had got my transcript from A&M the bad semester, and they kicked me out. So I lost out on the scholarship, and that same semester, oddly enough, I would go on later on and run that scholarship program, based on those lessons that I learned struggling through A&M. Yeah.
So you leave there, and next stop is East Texas Baptist University, huh?
So I leave there and barely, I squeaked by. I got a degree. Super excited by that. Thought there would be millions of opportunities for, this new grad, A&M grads.
Yeah.
Had a little bit of trouble finding something from the get-go. Ended up getting the corporate AT&T.
Yeah.
And did business-to-business sales.
Okay.
For about 3 years. Got to meet with a bunch of business owners. I love the entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
The amount of guts, the courage.
Commission work.
It's commission work. Not a great salesman, so it wasn't going to pan out.
Spent more time talking.
You spent more time
Less time selling.
Exactly. I can solve problems, but I don't like to sell. So if there's a problem that needs solving and I can convince you to purchase something to solve that, then it's great. But if I'm told, hey, I got to sell X amount of something, it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
And it didn't. At the time, the gentleman who was over the Faulkner Scholarship Program, Ron Gleason, who I'd stayed in contact with, I eventually did earn the scholarship back.
Right.
And so we were in good terms, was looking at retiring.
Yeah.
And so he had reached out and recruited me and said, hey, I'm planning on retiring. I think you'd be good at this. Would you consider becoming executive director of the Faulkner Scholarship Program? 26 was a weird thing.
Yeah, for sure.
My resume didn't match up. I was the only one at the time who applied that did not have a master's. He saw something in me. He was willing to take that chance, put his reputation out there.
Yeah.
And so I think he would say that it panned out well. He made the right choice. And so I ended up going and working a little while before I ended up going to TBU at the Faulkner Scholarship Program.
If you are looking for a reputable builder with a proven track record and a client base to back it up, give Red Construction and Development LLC a call. Red Construction offers full design build services for new construction, custom homes, and remodeling with free site evaluations. They have an A+ rating with the BBB and are proud members of the Tyler Area Builders Association, Texas Association of Builders, National Association of Home Builders, and the Lindale Area Chamber of Commerce. Red Construction and Development LLC stands behind the exceptional quality of their work and have the expertise, the resources, and dedication to deliver the results you need on time and on budget. To learn more, give them a call at 903-630-8660 or visit them online at redconstructiondevelopment.com.
Are you looking to optimize your drilling rig operations and maximize productivity? Look no further. Rex Consulting is here to power your drilling. With over 20 years of industry experience, our expert team provides tailored solutions that drive efficiency, safety, and profitability. From site assessments to cutting-edge technology integration, Rex Consulting is your trusted partner for land-based and offshore oil and gas drilling solutions. Ready to take your rig to the next level? Contact Rex Consulting today and send your operations to the next level in operational performance. Contact Josh Simmons at 918-637-9181. Rex Consulting, level up.
Which I did a little research on Faulkner, and I mean, they still have a small scholarship. They did a pretty hefty one to a variety of different folks at the time.
Yep.
This mutated into TJC Promise.
Yep.
And so you were kind of on the ground floor of the changing of the guard to moving it to TJC Promise. What were some of the what was the process like to move it into TJC?
Yeah, at Faulkner was cool because I learned a lot. Vernon Faulkner was a great visionary.
Yeah.
And he told me the day that I started for him, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what my generation is going to do. But when I pass away, this is going to close. And I want the next generation to figure out what they're going to do, how they get back.
Yeah.
Again, at 26, I wasn't thinking that would actually happen.
Yeah.
And so what was cool about it was he would give a hefty amount of money, 1.5 million-ish out of his money every year. And he would say, go put as many students from Tyler, East Texas, through college as you can with this money, and do right by the student.
Yeah.
I don't care what the graduation rate is. I don't care what you're not getting judged off of hitting certain metrics. You're getting judged based off doing the right thing by those individuals.
Right.
If they drop out, maybe it wasn't the right time for them, but hopefully they learned something through this process.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool. I learned so much from that about student success because I wasn't chasing a number for promotion. It was just to do right. And so we had developed things for students. Most of the students were first-gen, low income, all from East Texas. And so we created things, we did things that were very valuable. We had a really high graduation rate. He ended up giving scholarships by 850 students.
Uh-huh.
I bet if you go to a bank, a hospital, a school, CPA firm, you're going to run into one of his students that benefited from that.
That's cool, man.
And so that was really cool. And so unfortunately, in 2015, he did pass away unexpectedly. And so we did end up resolving that. I had some downtime. I was trying to figure out what was next for me. And another guy named Mitch Andrews, who is the development officer at TJC and has been there for a while, reached out and recruited me for the TJC Promise. Again, another guy who took a chance on me. If you look at the resume, if you look on paper, it did not make any sense that he would hire me. And so he took that chance. And from there, he said, I've got this idea called the TJC Promise. We've got to figure out how to raise $20 million in 4 years. Where we want to put every student that lives in the TJC tax district through the first 2 years at TJC without them having to spend a dime.
Right.
And so he recruited me to come and do that. Also, the first day stepping on a college campus and working on a college campus was very surreal, but a very, very cool moment. To be like, well, just think, wow, what am I? You talk about imposter syndrome. That was imposter syndrome.
Right.
At that moment, I could barely get through, A&M, but here I am working for a college.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about TJC Promise.
Yeah.
There's a list of things that high schoolers need to do in order to qualify for TJC Promise.
Yep.
And it has to start fairly early, right? Freshman year?
Ninth grade year, yep.
Yep. So there has to be first a commitment.
Yep.
Right? So they have to commit to TJC and say, hey, I want to be part of the TJC Promise. And then talk to us a little bit about some of the qualifiers, because some of them are not easy.
Yep. Yeah, and I'll try to get this right.
I know one of them's attendance.
Yep.
A GPA.
GPA.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. And so we were looking at developing it. There wasn't promise programs had been popping up throughout the nation just because the cost of tuition has gotten out of control.
For sure. It
Most
was a lot more than $1,002 that I paid per semester.
Yeah,
And that was a full ride, 16 hours.
Yeah, I remember there was donors that would give to the promise, and they would say, you know, when I went here, it was $85. Why do we need scholarships? And it's like, well, 85 is not even going to get you half a book. Or it's not even get you on a parking pass, you know. So when we were looking at creating it, there was not a promise program in the state at this time. There was some little pop-up ones throughout the nation, but they weren't doing well. And so we were trying to figure out, okay, how do we develop something that's going to resonate in East Texas, and it's going to be valuable to the student, and it's going to actually make a positive impact.
Right.
And we had nothing to base it off of, really. There was TJC had started a smaller program in Rusk called the Rest Promise, but it has different rules. And so what we just came up with was we'll do attendance. Obviously, if you're not showing up to school, you're probably not doing well.
Makes sense.
So there's an attendance requirement. I believe that you cannot miss more than 10 unexcused absences a year.
Yeah.
All right, so that's 40 potentially you can still have and still be in the program. So pretty lenient there. And then we wanted there to be GPA requirement.
There isn't, or
there is.
Yeah.
So the idea is
it's not like super crazy. It's like 3.2, I think.
It's less than that. It's
is
2.5.
It's 2.5. Okay.
Yeah, and the mindset there is when a student goes from high school to college, you normally see about, on average, a half-point drop. So the idea was, if we know they're going to drop half a point the first semester, it goes back up. We don't want to set anybody up for failure. So if you've got a 2.0 in high school, and we know you're going to have a 1.5 in college the first semester, we've set you up for failure. And so 2.5 is where that came from.
Okay.
Minimum is what you need when you graduate from high school. Again, not real difficult. It's not really a problem that we saw much of in East Texas.
Right.
And so the third requirement is community service, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Giving back to the community, getting involved.
Yeah.
And it's beneficial from a human standpoint.
Yeah.
To give back. I mean, and you meet people, you network. It's deemed as unselfish, but there's a lot of gain in doing that, especially at a young age. And so community service was another requirement. It's been modified a little bit because that's, for a ninth grader coming in, that might not be something they care about right away.
Yeah.
And so I believe what it is now is you have to submit, I believe it's 25 hours community service by the time you graduate.
Okay.
So you have all 4 years to get that.
Wow, that's not a lot.
It's
not a heavy lift.
It's not a heavy lift, not at all. And so it's meant to be.
I mean, I went to Catholic school, and we had to do that.
Yeah,
probably every 10 hours every year, I think, or 12 or something like that.
A lot of schools require it. Programs require it
for sure.
And so it's something probably most students are gonna do anyways.
Yeah.
And so you do have to. The kicker to the Promise program is you do sign up. You have to sign up as a ninth grader.
As a ninth grader.
Yeah.
Follow the process all the way through.
No. You're not committed to TJC. They're not going to come find you if you change schools your senior year. Nothing like that.
I mean, it's just, you're just not in the TJC promise.
Yeah, it's just a way be notified and keep track and making sure and remind.
And I'm sure there's a litany of students that have benefited from it and that are currently in school right now that are benefit from it. So, I mean, it's an awesome program. Yeah, for sure.
Have benefited from that. Throughout East Texas. It's been really great. And what's really cool, I think, about it is, it seems impossible until somebody does it. Since the TJC Promise has been created, there's been probably about 30 different Promise programs throughout the state. UT Tyler has started a great one. It's some a little bit different requirements, but we're in the news for it. If your family makes under 100,000, you can go to their Promise program. There's college there for free. So if you've got a family here in East Texas, you could potentially, your child can go to 2 colleges and get 2 degrees before you spend a penny.
Yeah.
And if you navigate it correctly.
Yeah.
And I just think that's cool. That's something that we should market more. Yeah, I know it's an expensive cost. It's not. These colleges aren't waiving.
Yeah.
They've got to come up with the money. They're still writing a check on your behalf. It is real dollars.
Yeah.
So I imagine there's probably a little bit of scare to it when you say, "Hey, everybody can come." But it's something I think it's valuable. It's worth it. Our community, as jobs continue to grow, as we have more companies move out here, they all want educated individuals, and there's a lot of talent here. And so this is something that I'm glad the community has done. It's something that I think Tyler should be proud of, being the first to start something like this. And I think it should be something that we, like I said, market more. This is a cool product that we offer that this still think is an unknown commodity.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of untapped resources for kids. It's just, navigating the junior and senior year, I was clueless. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do. And I think parents that get super involved, it helps.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, hey, this is what I think your passion is. This is what I think you're good at. And then getting behind it and just going full force at it.
Yeah.
And then understanding the nuances. My sister teaches she teaches in college, and she's had a couple different roles, and obviously advisor is one of them.
Yeah.
And so seeing her advise and like, hey, this is what I think your best path is, and here's your best fiscal path of not staying in school as long as you want it to, and this is some of your strengths, and these are some of the prerequisites you're going to have to take if you change your major, and those pitfalls kind of that's good advisors in high school.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for, and parents are there for too.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately with budget cuts, that's one of those things that you see cut first.
Yeah.
Is that advisor. And so you do see from a public school to a college standpoint, you do see advisors trying to advise way more students than even makes sense. I can't remember the average for the state, but it's like 300 or 400 students per advisor.
I bet.
So it does become difficult.
As a number, you become a number.
Exactly. So it's in and out, and it's peak seasons too. So it's not like you're doing that throughout the whole year. You're doing it within 2 weeks of each semester.
Right.
And so one thing that I'm the most proud of that TJC did, really I give credit to Dr. Juan Mejia for this, but he allowed us to hire what we call promise success coaches.
Yeah.
Nobody thought that throwing money at a problem was going to fix it by itself. And so we saw that with other promise programs in the nation that just threw money at it. Say, okay, here's a check, go to college. Nothing changed, right? And so what they did was he allowed us to hire, I think they're at 4 or 5 coaches now, but their primary role is you meet with students. You meet them where they're at, when they're ready to meet with you.
Yeah.
Doors always open, and it's, how do I navigate this? This is the problem that I ran into today. Help me get through this before it amplifies, it blows up, I drop out, all the negative things that can happen if you delay an issue. They're there for that. And because of that, I give credit to that. The Promise program that TJC started has such high success rates. College graduates compared to other Promise programs as well. So it was a twofold.
Yeah, for sure. So how did you get into Hispanic nonprofits and organizations? I've got it listed here: Hispanic Professional Association of Tyler, Community Development Financial Institute. Yeah. How did you get involved? I mean, now you're probably more involved than you were when you first got into those associations. Were they already formed, or?
So I, working for the Faulkner Scholarship Program, that was a nonprofit. Learned a lot about nonprofits from Ron Gleason, who I consider a nonprofit guru. So getting to learn from him was so invaluable.
Yeah, for sure. And prerequisites.
So, 100%. And so I kind of had this mind about nonprofits, and I enjoyed it. when we were dissolving the Faulkner Scholarship Program, I had not started at TJC yet. And so I had a lull of about 9 months when I was trying to figure out in 2017 what I wanted to do next and who would hire me to do it, right? And so in looking for that, I had been approached by Nick Messina, attorney here in Tyler, who said, you know what, we've got great people doing great things, but we're very isolated.
Yeah.
We're just working in silos. And it just hit home to me when he said that. I was like, yeah, I feel that. And he said, you know, let's gather some people. I want to start the organization called Hispanic Professional Associations of Tyler that I think could do some great things in the whole community for everyone. And I threw that idea. I said, well, let's make it into a nonprofit. And he said, well, you take that lead. And I had the downtime while I was looking for jobs. And so I guess I can be credited with turning it into the nonprofit. I'm not going to take credit for the organization itself. But that was back in 2017 when that was formed.
Yeah.
And it grew rapidly. The need was there. And what branched off from that was the East Texas Leadership Summit. It's been going on every year since 2018, I believe.
Yeah. I watched a few of the videos.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Like, there's a lot of enthusiasm for what you guys do. There wasn't. I didn't listen to I listened to the welcome, like, hey, you need to come here and stuff like that. I didn't dig into like what you actually do. I'm assuming there's a lot of businesses, Hispanic businesses, mostly, or is it a little bit of everybody?
It's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And everybody shows up. They set up a table if they want to.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that they're invited, or they're given an invitation, or they're saying, you say, hey, we're going to have this summit, and we just need to let us know if you want to have a table here and represent your company. And then it's more of just what do you call it? Where it's a mixer where you're just trying to benefit each other's businesses, right?
It's a 1-day summit.
Okay.
There's normally a great keynote.
Okay.
The guy that we had last year was on CBS, and they made fun of him. He was an anchor. He did what's the competition where American Ninja Warrior.
Oh, Ninja Warrior.
And so he was a commentator for American Ninja Warrior.
Okay.
They made him try to attempt it, fell flat on his face, got made fun of. And so that became his bit. And then they eventually were like, okay, we need you to do good. We're tired of you doing bad. And so, long story short, he ended up training, and ended up winning it. And
okay.
So he went from hosting it to winning it. So that's the individual we had last year. But the summit itself is open for everybody. But who you typically about, I think there was about 600-700 people last year.
Wow.
There's a bunch of breakout sessions in the morning. There's
okay.
Keynote, lunch, and then more breakout sessions in the evening, and then a network mixer typically last. And so it's just to get it's individuals in East Texas together to solve whatever problems we're dealing with this year, whatever you want to overcome, and for everybody. It is put on by the Hispanic Professional Association, but it's open for everyone. That's just the organization that decided to take the charge and do it. And so this year, we've got, for the first time, we're going to have somebody local be the keynotes.
Okay.
His name is Brian Brandt.
Okay.
I consider him a friend of mine, but maybe he'll say otherwise, maybe not. But great guy.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
We'll have to ask him, but great guy, and I'm excited to see his keynote.
Hey, podcast listeners, are you in need of some top-notch libations to elevate your next gathering? Look no further than Hoot and Holler Liquor Store in Gun Barrel City, your go-to liquor store for quality drinks. From smooth bourbons to crisp wines and everything in between, Hoot and Holler has one of the largest and most diverse selections in East Texas. Planning a special occasion? Let our experts guide you to the perfect bottle. You'll receive excellent customer service not offered in the big box chains. Visit Hoot and Holler today and let the good times flow.
Vault Arms is your premier destination for all things firearms. Extensive selection of handguns, rifles, shotguns, and accessories. Knowledgeable staff to assist you in finding the perfect firearm to fit your needs. State-of-the-art gun range equipped with the latest technology for a safe and thrilling shooting experience. Take advantage of our professional shooting instruction and training programs suitable for all skill levels. Host your next group outing, corporate event, or bachelor party at our spacious and secure shooting facility. Committed to promoting responsible gun ownership and firearm safety. Fully licensed and compliant with all state and federal regulations.
The Humidor is your online cigar retailing headquarters. Our experienced staff has spent years finding some of the best cigars from around the world to sell to our customers. If you're looking for an online cigar store that can help you find your next favorite smoke, welcome to the Humidor. We began the Humidor because of our deep appreciation of the finer things in life, a good conversation with friends, an aged whiskey, and, of course, a fine smoke. That's why, in addition to selling premium cigars online, we also operate a brick-and-mortar cigar lounge in Tyler, Texas. Our lounge is crafted to provide a classic ambience with modern sensibilities, and we've spent time ensuring that smokers and non-smokers have an enjoyable experience, whether they're there for a drink with friends or to enjoy the game.
We're having, next up, we're going to have some E.H. Taylor, which is a fun bottle for me. I already told you my story about my family lineage being associated with E.H. Taylor. Cool bottle, high rye, small batch, and bottled in bond on top of that, which E.H. Taylor was a big part of. So,
Yeah, talking about visionaries, talking about
100%,
change for the good. Yeah,
and a banker on top of that.
on top of that. Yeah.
So awesome, East Texas Leadership Summit. It's coming up in April, right?
I believe it's in April this year. It's coming up. You Google East Texas Leadership Summit, you'll be able to find all the info. I know it's out.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it. You can either do the lunch or you can do the whole day. If you can't do the whole day, definitely attend the lunch, but I highly recommend the whole day. There's all types of presentations that will be there. Definitely some finance, definitely some community involvement, some nonprofit, some education. They try to really do the whole spectrum of options for people, so it's not just isolated to one idea, one thing, right? And so if it affects the community, that's what they're looking to bring in. And so it's a very thoughtful committee.
Yep.
They meet a whole lot once a week for about 8 months, made up of volunteers. I was fortunate enough to be one of the keynotes. One of the co-chairs last year. And so I'm obviously biased, but definitely worth attending. It's one of the better summits, in my opinion, that I've ever been to, which is right here in Tyler.
How does the Community Development Financial Institution, how does that tie in?
Yeah. And so at TJC, the promise, I had been there about 5 years. We raised the funds. It's going. It's helping thousands of students. I like building things, companies, people. I love the underdog. And so I was looking for that next big challenge. And again, talking about a mentor who reached out and saw something in me when their resume didn't match up. That's a trend that's happened for me. A gentleman who I served on the board for Leadership Tyler with, named Todd Buchanan, said, hey, there's a thing called Community Developmental Fund, CDFI. They're all over the nation. Louisiana has more CDFIs than alligators. But there's not one from into East Texas from Oklahoma to Houston.
Right.
And the intent is to help small businesses that get denied bank funding.
Yeah.
So primarily low-income tracts is where the big focus is at. He goes, I think I'd like to start one of those, but I need somebody to come on board and launch it for me.
Yeah.
Would it be something you'd be interested in? And the timing was right for me. The challenge intrigued me. Rooted for the underdog, I liked as well, and so I was all in.
Yeah. Very cool. What does it do?
So it does small dollar loans, which is loans under 50,000.
Okay.
It does. You do have to be turned down from a bank.
Okay.
To essentially qualify. Most of the people who get loans will be in a low to moderate income track.
Yep.
In Texas, doesn't have to be just Tyler. That might sound difficult, but if you look at downtown, all of downtown qualifies. All of the inner loop qualifies as a CDFI zone. So if you got a business there, it automatically qualifies it.
Yeah.
So
My barber's downtown.
there you go.
I love them.
Yeah.
They speak very little English, but they know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're the one place in town that I've experienced.
Yeah.
Where they take a straight edge right under your ear.
Yeah.
And I love that.
It looks good. I
It's
might
clean.
give you his number.
It's clean, man. It's clean. Right there on Broadway, just south of the square.
Yeah. Well, if
Yeah,
you're
the
looking
guys
to
are
grow,
great.
Looking to grow or expand.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's cool about it, again, throwing money at something, I don't believe fixes in it.
Yeah.
And so part of the CDFI that I like, it is a program through the U.S. Treasury. So there is some U.S. Treasury dollars that are given in support of this.
Yeah.
But the requirement is that you have to provide what they call technical assistance. An easier way to think about it is mentoring, right? And so you can't just give somebody a loan and say, good luck.
Right.
You are required to go with them hand in hand and provide X amount of technical assistance per dollar you lend out. And so you do a 5-year loan and say, hey, I'm with you for 5 years. I'm not just saying pay me back. It's let me look at your finances quarterly or yearly, whatever it might be. Let me see if there's anything that might be worrisome. Is it your marketing? Is it your QuickBooks? Do you need attorney help? Well, if we can't help you, we'll cover some of those expenses.
Yeah.
It is a nonprofit, 501c3, so it's not.
That's cool.
It's
Yeah,
not
very cool.
A lot of people think, oh, it's a bank. It's a bank. We have great bank partners that have given grants who have been really supportive of this, and I thank them for that. But it's surely a kind of a giving back component that we're trying to do. What's interesting with small businesses that I've noticed is most small business are one really good decision from growing, expanding.
Yeah.
You're filling up, making more money, your savings account getting bigger. Or they're one bad decision away from closing their doors, laying off 4 to 5 people.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's close. It's a kind of seesaw on what you might do. And so I think you should always have, a second opinion, somebody looking out for your best interest. And so it's something that it's developed. The Lending Avenue is what CDFI is called here in East Texas, headquartered downtown Tyler. That's what it does. I think it's a great thing. A lot of people may not realize this, but in Smith County, 80% of employed individuals work for a company that has less than 9 employees.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That many.
So there's some large companies that get a lot of credit for hiring and job creation, and rightfully so. But majority of people work for a
Very
small
company.
very small company.
Yeah. And decisions matter in a small company.
Yeah, and so if that owner of that company makes a bad decision and lays off 6-7 people,
Yeah.
in the
It's
city,
half their workforce.
yeah, it might not seem like a big deal to a community of 100,000 people, but I promise it's a big deal to those 6 or 7 people.
Yeah,
So
for
that
sure.
might lose your job, and it probably doesn't feel good for the business owner either. And so, I'm happy that that we can support truly small businesses.
Yeah.
With that initiative.
Yeah, for sure. So talk to us a little bit about SBAs.
Yeah.
So that's something that you kind of focus in on pretty deeply, and you work with a lot of, they're already owners, right? Or are they just trying to get off the ground? Are they trying to expand? A little bit of both?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's certain qualifications for that too.
Yeah, there is.
And SBA is a Small Business Association loan.
Yeah. Small Business Administration.
Okay.
It's another product that was created by the SBA through the government, and with the same mindset of how do we help small business owners? How do we help the lifeblood of the country?
Yeah.
And how do we give them support and financing and lending that's going to help them grow, going to, again, hire more people and whatnot. And so what they came up with was 2 programs. One is the SBA 7A. One is the SBA 504. The 504 is what my day-to-day job consists of. And really what that is we partner with banks. Every loan we do is a partnership with a bank. And the bank will traditionally do 50% of the loan. We'll do traditionally 40%. There's some caveats there, but and then the borrower will do 10%.
The what?
The borrower, the individual getting the loan.
Say that one more time.
The borrower.
Barred.
The borrower. Yeah.
Oh, the bar.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I was hearing something different.
Yeah.
I thought it was an acronym for something.
Yeah, no.
Okay, the bar.
Individual getting the loan.
Bar. Yeah. Okay, got it.
So when I was talking about those, there's there's elementary school teachers. One of the many extracurricular classes I had to take to get me caught up with speech. So I've got a speech that comes back every now and
If
then.
you ask my wife, it's hearing. It's hearing for sure. 100%.
Yeah, I don't think my wife would say anything different to admit that as well.
I think we all fit in that criteria. Yeah. I think it's a chromosome thing.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
So currently you're at Greater Texas Capital as a director of strategy and development. So that sounds awesome. It sounds like you're going to the moon.
Yeah. Titles are funny. They're all fabricated. I found out early on. So regional manager is really what I call myself.
Okay.
My business cards say.
Okay.
But yes, I'm a regional manager now for Greater Texas Capital. And so what I get to do day to day is awesome. I get to meet with business owners. I get to listen to what their dreams are, what their hopes are.
Yeah.
Majority of them are current business owners looking to expand. But there's a good 30% that are startups. I've got this idea I want to get launched. I get to listen to them, and I get to hear it out, and I get to dream with them.
Yeah.
And then together we get to make it whatever they're dreaming of a reality. And so that's the fun part for me.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast, man. I could do that job easy.
You would be good at it.
Yeah, man, I'd love it.
I probably need to quit talking because you might take my spot soon. Yeah.
I'll just do it at a different bank, man. I've got a friend that does it too in Shreveport, and he does a great job, man. He's awesome at it.
Yeah.
And it would get my blood pumping every day.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, wait a minute. How much work are you willing to put into this? Because so many people, they're like, well, I'm tired of working for the man. I'm tired of working.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You work for yourself. Oh, I get to make my own hours. No, you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're working
every hour.
all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the sole proprietor.
Yep.
If there's an issue, guess who it's with? It's with you.
Yeah, you can't
It's
complain
like
anybody. Yeah.
Guess what? We need we're behind on things. It's Christmas. You're working. Like, it's not easy.
It's not. I think you've got to be cut from a different cloth.
You do. I think you got to have a little slight crazy in you. And, and a lot of passion.
Yeah.
And a lot of focus. I think that's where I see business owners where they see a little success.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I'm ready to branch out and do a multitude of things.
Yeah.
The best like symbolic, I guess, way of saying it is it's like a restaurateur that does 4 dishes really well. Country Tavern in Kilgore.
Oh, yes.
4 dishes really well.
Ribs. Yeah.
And then guess what? They just said, hey, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Where a lot of restaurateur, they're like, I'm a great chef. They start with, a small menu, and then it gets to 2-ply, 3-ply, 4-ply. And next thing you know, they're carrying all this stuff, and everybody orders the 4s. It's everything. It's kind of the best illustration I Yeah, for some small business owners, not all of them.
Yeah.
But some of them I see them have some really good success, and they're so ready to branch out and build.
Yeah.
Do you see that or no?
Not as much as you would think.
Okay.
I'm real fortunate in all my work. I get to work with the best of the best. Even at Faulkner, you might be a first-generation college student, but you're driven and determined enough that you're going to make it work. Blind ambition is something that I love, and I've been fortunate to get to be around it so often. TJC Promise was the same way. I don't know how I'm going to make it work, but I'm going to make it work. And now working with entrepreneurs, it's the same mindset. I'm going to believe in myself. I'm scared, but I'm going to make it work. And so they do. And by the time I get to work with them, they're probably pretty established.
What's the biggest concern you hear from, let's just break it into different phases.
Yeah.
So you're working with a brand new owner of a business or a startup. What are some of their biggest worries, concerns?
They probably don't tell me that at the beginning because they're trying to get funding.
Yeah, right.
And so they probably leave that out.
Yeah,
but,
they're talking about all the items that they've sold, the widgets they've sold, and
they're telling me why they can, not why they can postpone. But interest rates get brought up, right? That's when you're looking at a multi-million-dollar loan. The interest rate will add a few thousand in month in payments, and so obviously you're mindful of that. Getting approved, the process. You don't typically go get many small business loans, right? It's probably a one-off that you might do that in your life, and so the process is new. And human nature, if something's new, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
And so that's really the scare, that I see the most. Are the concern. Dollar signs and the process, right? And just like college, it was, first generation. How do I do this? How do I navigate this?
Yeah.
Some of these parents may have not gone to college and they're trying to be the first. You don't know what you don't know, and that fear can be crippling sometimes. So that's
you ever listen to like a small business owner and you're like, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, all the time. There's plenty of them.
So this last week, I have to share this, and then you can share yours.
No, yeah.
So this last week, I found this guy who's on Instagram, he's on Facebook, he's on like all the social media, and his name's John. Okay, props to John, and his stick is John breaks bad news. You ever heard of this guy? Okay, so basically, you pay him to give someone else bad news that you don't want to give them.
Okay.
Some of it's funny, some of it's like, hey,
I think I did see this.
you're really bad at World of Warcraft, you should give it up or whatever. But basically, so he's filming and he's like, ring, ring, hello? Is Tim there? This is Tim. Hey, this is John with John Breaks Bad News. Hey, I got some bad news for you, bud. Your friend John said that you suck at World of Warcraft, and you should give it up and let your girlfriend play. She'd probably be better than you or whatever. So, but there's some really bad ones, like, hey, your husband's cheating on you with this girl, whatever. But this guy, they tip him $5.
Yeah.
For every phone call. Yeah. So easy. And kind of a fun thing to do. It's like call somebody and give them bad news. Make you feel better about what you got to do. Going on.
Be the right mindset for that. But I can see how some people would enjoy that.
Such a fun conversation with a couple of them. I think it's just it's something that I think we're in an age where a lot of that happens.
Yeah.
Where you come up with like a stick that's like, God, that's funny, and it's applicable to a lot of different people. It's not food industry, which I've been in the food industry. It's hard.
Yeah.
Very hard. Spoilage. There's a lot more spoilage than people ever think about.
Yeah.
And it's difficult.
Yeah.
And of course, hiring employees, they're working fast food or working certain hours. It's hard.
Yeah.
You get one or two really rock stars, and you're going to have them for a short period of time.
Yep.
Somebody's going to pluck them up.
Yep.
Anything that comes to mind where you're like, dang it, I wish I would have thought about that.
Yeah, I could give you one probably for every decade, but an easy one I would say would be a brewery. You know,
Okay.
we've done
Okay.
across the state.
Yeah.
A handful of breweries.
I love it. We've had a couple of them on.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. We've got a couple coming on too.
Oh, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So, you know, Q and Brew out in Canton?
No, I don't.
Yeah. It's so if you go into Canton off of I-20,
Yeah.
it's just north of the 19 exit. So if you coming from the east side, so if you hit 19 and you go north, you go south, you go to Trade Days.
Yeah.
You go north, there's a KOA, like RV park,
Yeah, yeah.
and Q and Brew is in there. They were on like our 8th or 9th or 10th episode, and they barbecue Q,
Yeah.
and then they brew their beers, and their head brewmaster came on, and then we have Truvine, which you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Truvine comes on in August.
Love them. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's a great group there. Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan and Tracy Dixon.
Yeah, good people.
Yeah, they're great people.
That's awesome. Yeah, that one I think would just be cool to do.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah, our bar, like a old school bar. Margins are great.
You know, it's funny because a lot of times when people think of small business, they go to the hospitality restaurant mindset immediately.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, that's really little what we ever do. Probably because that's unfortunately the industry that does not do well long term.
Yeah.
A lot of turnover there, but and there's so many options. There's so many cool things. I'm trying to be
So
mindful of what I give
you're
out.
like a financial advisor for these businesses to a certain extent, right?
I try not to advise at all.
But I mean, if you're navigating them through the ways that your bank can help them get the financing they need to either improve processes or hire the people they need or upgrade equipment or expand to a new market or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, there's three essentially products that we offer. Two of those products do require that we do provide some type of technical assistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's times where you could say, you can't do that. I know you want to do it, but it ain't going to happen.
I'm never going to tell anybody what they can and can't do, but I might recommend it. But you never know. And that's the cool thing about small businesses. There's some things that you could tell me that would be that somebody wants to do, and I'd be like, no way that's going to work. And then it's the greatest idea ever. You know, if you would have told me that you could call people and give them bad news and do that as a business, I would buy that, but apparently you can. And so I know I'm definitely not in the business of saying you can and can't do something. I've never did that with a college student.
Right.
I'm not going to do that with a small business. The way I like to approach is here's how I would recommend you go about it. Kind of mindset, because I've been wrong plenty of times. So I definitely know better than to tell somebody they can't or shouldn't do something. For sure.
Anything come to mind where you're like, this ain't going to work? And then it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Nope, I was wrong.
Oh, man. If you gave me probably a little bit of time, I could come up with a long list
I bet.
of things.
That's like,
Sure.
There's been plenty of businesses that, because like I said, I was in the restaurant industry for a while, and I've done quite a bit, a spectrum. I worked for like 5 or 6 corporations, and corporation's pretty easy. I mean, it's like, hey, we're operating in the black all the time. But small businesses, you're like, all right, where are we at? Because sometimes you're looking at the owner going, they're in a bad mood today. Did they get a bill that they didn't expect, or did they, lose the catering gig?
Yeah.
Or did they, lose the bid that they, whatever it is. So, I mean, it's, to find loyal employees to work for small businesses, I'm sure is pretty challenging.
I hear that a lot. I've heard that at the college. I've heard it now in my role that I'm in now with Greater Texas Capital. I'm pretty passionate that Tyler produces some amazing talent.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to convince me otherwise.
I don't disagree with that.
And they're out there, they're working hard, they're getting degrees now, they're utilizing one of the 2 promise programs we have.
Yeah.
Where I see the disconnect is, I told you already 3 examples of somebody took a chance at me when the resume didn't match up.
Right.
And I hope all 3 would say absolutely was worth it.
Yeah.
I think they would.
But that's part of your DNA now.
And it's part of my DNA.
Yeah, it's what fuels you.
If one of those 3 didn't do that, I would not be as fortunate as I am. And so what I get kind of annoyed by is when you have a business, large or small, that say, we can't find any talent. We can't find workers. Nobody wants to work. And I'm sure that stereotype is true in some avenues, but from what I've seen in Tyler working with thousands of students,
especially here recently,
there's
people that want to work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are frustrated they can't find work.
Oh, 100%.
And it may be a little more picky about what they want.
Yeah.
But
the talent is there.
Yeah,
you've got to be willing to spend the effort, take the chance.
Yeah, the last 8 to 12 months, I've seen a huge shift in talent pool.
Yeah.
Compared to the 18 months to 36 months before then.
Yeah.
During COVID, I mean, it was rough. And I'm not saying anything bad about anybody. It's just, coming to a interview with, it could be a NFL jersey on with flip-flops, or house shoes. It was just different than what I was used to. And prior to COVID, I mean, a lot of people come into interviews with sports coats and ties and stuff like that. I mean, and obviously demographics plays a part into it too, because we're not in Dallas. I mean, we're a little bit in the country, so you're going to see people come in with boots, and you're going to see them occasionally come in with a cowboy hat on and a flannel shirt.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's unbuttoned, about 3 buttons.
Yeah, I'm not advocating for anybody hiring somebody who shows up in a football jersey.
A onesie.
Maybe a onesie, but if they're going to work from home, maybe, I guess. But no, I'm not advocating for them, but I'm advocating for those students that put in the work, those people that put in the work, and they're just needing somebody to take.
Well, frankly speaking, I mean, if you show ambition, you can work your way up pretty quickly in a small business compared to huge corporation, where you have some people that get into management positions and camp out. Yeah. That's the honest truth. So that's the benefit of being in a small business.
Yeah.
I mean, in 3 years, I went from being a waiter to a front of house manager.
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
Where that would have probably taken me 15, 20 years in a big corporation. So there's strategic advantages of getting hired on in small business and taking that chance and riding the wave with them.
Yeah.
Being part of their success.
Yeah, absolutely. How you get incentivized is probably a big portion of that.
Yeah.
Everybody's different though. And so I always like to figure out what makes the person tick, what makes them work, what gets them up, and play to their skill sets.
Yeah.
That's kind of probably easier for me because I did that when I was working with students, when helping them choose career paths and majors. And so I think that's important as well. But to me, like you said, the drive and determination, which is something hard. You're not going to sit down and shoot a paper. But if they've got that, take a chance. They may not have the exact certification you're looking for
Right.
in that one position, but invest in talent. There's so much of it in Tyler.
Yeah, agree.
And
the surrounding area was true.
Definitely surrounding here, so for sure.
Yeah. So what's next, man? What do you have on the agenda? I mean, obviously you have the summit coming up in April, but anything new on the fryer? Anything new? anything new in the campfire?
Yeah, the summit. I'm excited that I just get to be a participant in the summit this year. I don't have to do any work for it, so I'm looking forward to just enjoying the summit. I'm enjoying working with small business owners right now. I wish I could share more individualized stories of people that you and I know here locally that that are doing cool things, creating new companies here, and hiring more people. Our biggest focus, Red Fix Capital is really community development is what we do.
Yeah.
Focus on job creation. It is not a for-profit. It's a nonprofit as well.
Wow.
And so that's the part of it that it's attractive to me. I get to help grow the community. I get to help create jobs, and I get to help small business owners see their vision and dream come through. And so really, I've got some cool things lined up this year that's going to get built out here in East Texas.
Awesome.
And I'm getting...
You can't give us any.
Can't give... I shouldn't. They probably wouldn't mind, but I'm going to be cautious here.
Can you just give us one?
So you did lead us.
I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. I'll let them do it. But there's a lot of cool things coming to the area. A good job creation. So, yep. I'm looking forward to just enjoying that process, getting better at the craft that I'm doing now. I didn't change. Let's see what's else through there.
Luke? Well, we've reached the end, man. You survived. And I always like to end the podcast with shout-outs. It's kind of my guest opportunity to kind of show some praise to some mentors or friends, family, anybody that you want to shout out. We talked a little bit about your grandparents before the podcast. They were tight-lipped about some lineage type things, but I'm sure they impacted you pretty significantly. And your dad, we talked a little bit about that at the beginning, about him making a pretty tough decision to move you guys. Anybody else comes to mind?
We still miss that listen.
You mentioned a lot of people.
Yeah, teachers. I mean, that's God's work. They don't get to read and see the benefits of what they do. So
I agree.
I appreciate what they do. I mentioned that the mentors that I've had that took a chance on me. I would encourage everybody that's listening to be mindful. Take that same chance on somebody whose resume just doesn't make sense. I bet it'll pay dividends for you and the company. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, if I could go back in time, and my dad and I were talking to Vanna, and he said, where you want to move to Tyler? I wish I could go back and say, man, it's the best place on earth. Heck yeah, I want to live here. And so I think we're just really lucky to have some really great people. It's really great in the lane to this.
What is it? East Texas is one of the strongest areas in the nation, not just Texas. People here are very giving.
Yeah. It benefits, Man, we could probably do another hour if I'm going to go through this. So, yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
I enjoyed it, too. It's really fun. I love what we're doing. Nonprofits, entrepreneurs, sprinkle in some distillers in the city and some brewers, people that maybe you're helping. And it's been awesome, man. And then, sponsors have really responded positively and said, hey, look, we love what you're doing too. And this started by doing sampling. I was doing like whiskey sampling once a month up at the Becca, who's our home. We call it the home. This is where it started. We were doing sampling, and it was awesome. COVID, everybody wanted to get out, do stuff. So here's a monthly event that you can do, and it's a packed house, like 40, 50 people, and doing sampling and having fun and telling stories about distillers and things of that nature. And then once COVID ended, everybody went back to full-time softball. Let's go see Grandma and Grandpa. We haven't seen them in a year and a half, 2 years, and all that good stuff. And then I had some friends that were like, hey, you should do this. And I was like, yeah, I'll try it. So I met Josh and some great people along the way to change me up front. Like, I would walk into this like one mindset and just very kind of hardened by a lot of different things. And even though I'm an area manager for my company, and I adapt my management style to who I'm talking to and maybe the group, still have my own beliefs about how things should work. And that's hard. It's like, you should be doing a good job. You shouldn't, ask for a raise, or you shouldn't be. Maybe, you should all be motivated by money. Why aren't you motivated by money? Or, hey, maybe you don't like public acknowledgement and stuff like that. So I think that as time has gone on, I've met so many different people, had so many different conversations. I've changed a ton in perception, and I have a particularly strong affinity for nonviolence because it's a selfless act, and it takes a lot of energy and a lot of coordination and things of that nature. And it's just such a genuine thing that we do. Americans do more than any other country in the world. So I think it's just awesome, and I love having you on. I love what you're doing. It's great.
Appreciate you having me on. Appreciate you telling me about this. You're for sharing that with me. I appreciate the spirits. Appreciate it. Man, I'm envious. You get to love humans. I love the uniqueness that everyone has. After awards, different opinions and things of that nature. I appreciate you reaching out and let me hop on. I'm sorry that Josh didn't get to have any experience, and we share him next time.
This is his experience. Oh, he got some Sprite. That's his jam. That's his jam right there. For goal. Okay, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, maybe.
Really did. All right. So next up is Suerte Tequila. Luck. It's coming on. Is it Suerte? Luck? Don't get me. No? Okay, yes. I'm pretty sure. 100%. It's Luck. There's a rabbit on the bottle. So looking forward to having Jono on. We're going to go back home to Mineola. We'll be in the Beckham on the 20th. Looking forward to that live show. This one will be published on Saturday, by the way. Looking forward to getting back home and having him do some sampling. So we'll have a good time there. See you next time.